good afternoon to everybody, and welcome to this panel on developing young entrepreneurs in a disruptor economy. Very happy to have an incredible panel with us who will introduce themselves more fully, but from left to right, you'll be able to see them up there. Nelly Moffat-King from Junior Achievement South Africa, Aldred Jordan from GovChat, and Sonqoba Vuba from, I'll tell you now, Future Proof South Africa. And just so fantastic to have you guys on and to hear from entrepreneurs and people who are very involved in training entrepreneurs, all about this field. Just a few quick ground rules for the session on Zoom is this is being recorded. There is chat, question and answer, and polling functionality. So at the right of the video or below the video if you're on mobile, you'll be able to get to that functionality. The chat is really for comments on the content, so anything you want to write about the content, but myself and the panelists will not be able to see that. And then there's the question and answer tab. So please put any of your questions and answers into that tab and kindly make them short if possible, because we're going to have to try to get through a lot of questions. So try keep them short and either just clarify if you want the question to the whole panel or if you'd like the question to a specific individual. And the polls are going to appear on the tab to the right as well. And we've got Christian de Goede, who's actually assisting us. So when we ask to see the polls, he'll be bringing that across onto the screen and we'll see how the results look on the polls. So please feel free to put your answers into the polls as well. So then just a quick introduction to this panel. I'll just quickly give my background. So my name is Taddy Blecher. I'm the co-founder and CEO of the Marish Invincibility Institute. I've done quite a lot of work in the entrepreneurship space, firstly being a social entrepreneur, which I've done for the last 25 years. Before, similar actually to Sonqoba, I was an actuary, did exactly the same path as her, went through BSc Actuarial Science at WITS and then honors in Actuarial Science, and then became an actuary through the Institute of Actuaries, worked for a global consulting firm called Monitor after working at Liberty and FedSure on the insurance side. And 25 years ago, rather than jumping on a plane and going off to the US, to go just follow fame and fortune, decided to go into the townships and go and work with kids in education, which is really a great passion, and ultimately started the first free university in South Africa, and we've helped to build 6 of these post-secondary education institutions. And along that journey started the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship with Sir Richard Branson, where we've trained about 5,000 entrepreneurs. And about in 2011, got asked by the former Deputy President, Kgalema Motlanthe, to chair a national government task team in the Human Resource Development Council, the Human Resource Development Council on youth unemployment, but with a perspective of entrepreneurship. And that's led to some wonderful, wonderful things, including a national initiative called E-Cubed in the national school system, which is to bring entrepreneurship and employability skills into South Africa's whole national school system. So there's much we can say about all of that, but I'm just so excited to have this amazing panel. Just each of them is doing such fascinating stuff and has got so much to share with our audience today. And just to thank the audience for joining this very important topic. Without entrepreneurship, we know there are no jobs. Without entrepreneurship, there's very, very little light in society, because that's where the innovation and disruption is coming from. So let's hear on this topic from these 3 amazing individuals. I'm going to start with my old friend, Nelly Moffat-King, who's been in the trenches for a long time with Junior Achievement. So Nelly, I'm going to hand over to you and give us your thoughts on developing young entrepreneurs in a disruptor economy. You've got 5 minutes. I'm going to have to be a little bit rude as we're getting close to 3:25. So just if you could be conscious of time. Thank you very much. Over to you, Nelly.
Thank you very much, Teddy. As Junior Achievement, our aim has always been to inspire and prepare young people for economic success through our experiential programs. And really how we've done this has evolved quite significantly over the years as we continuously try to find meaningful ways to adequately prepare our young people for 21st century workplaces. And really how we achieve this has been through collaborations. We wouldn't have done this without the amazing support from our partners. So I'm going to focus more on our flagship enterprise program, which is the program we've been implementing since 1979, given that most of our other entrepreneurial programs build on this particular program. And this is where high school students set up and run a business as part of their training. Now, as more and more people tend to self-employment for survival, we realized as an organization that there is a need for our students to be more innovative in their business offering in order to remain competitive and still learn those lifelong lessons. And as a result, we started incorporating the design thinking content into our program, which then empowers learners to develop a deeper understanding of their customers and the needs that they are addressing with their products or services, and therefore to come up with much more innovative solutions. And through this intervention, our students are becoming more aware of the challenges within their communities, but they're also learning that they too can bring meaningful solutions to the challenges that are faced by the communities in a scalable way. Through this process, we have partnered with the Project Management Institute and added project management as a module on our programs as well, just to ensure that learners plan their production optimally and are able to deliver real value and ultimately run profitable businesses. Our students also get exposed to careers in project management through this initiative. Now, to ensure a meaningful pipeline of learner development, this year we've also partnered with IBM on the Skilling African Youth Program to provide our program beneficiaries with the much needed IT skills, which will enable them and give them the edge in their job seeking and business ventures. And some of the modules that are covered during this intervention include coding, artificial intelligence, blockchain, data science and analytics, cybersecurity, as well as web development. So learners who complete our programs have the opportunity to participate in our national and Africa regional competitions, as well as other youth-owned business initiatives. We do engage corporate volunteers to support and mentor the students during this time as they prepare for the competitions, but we also create opportunities for volunteers to engage and facilitate our sessions as we implement the various programs. Also, our learners now have the opportunity not to liquidate the many companies they set up as part of the training, but also to continue and mentor the next cohort of learners to take over the business and ensure that enterprise education does continue in the school environment, even if there is no funding for this program at a particular school. And to support this initiative, we have developed a framework which includes the engagement of school management, the parents, and the community to make sure that the businesses run successfully and they are optimally supported. Our program graduates also have an opportunity to join the Global J Alumni Network and gain access to opportunities across the world. And through this network, just during lockdown, we had one of our alumni who's based in Polokwane attending a presentation hosted by SpaceX and gaining inspiration on their latest innovations. So last year, we actually did an internal impact assessment on learners who completed our high school enterprise program between 2012 and 2019. And we discovered that more than 40% of the respondents were actually studying at institutions of higher learning, and 63% of them being at universities, while the other 16 were still at high school. Others had started their own businesses or were employed, but around 28% remained unemployed.
Pretty soon. I'm going to give you 30 more seconds, max.
That's perfect. But that was just to highlight the value of such interventions in building the young people's resilience and realizing the importance of staying in schools. And what we have done just during lockdown is we've been able to ensure that learning continues through our online programs. We have since developed further program content onto for virtual presentation on Google Classrooms, and have included activities and more robust monitoring and evaluation to enable us to make assessments and adjust the level of engagement much quicker. I'm going to pause there and hopefully take more questions during Q&A.
Thank you. Nelly, you can do jumping jacks or something like that, get a bit of exercise and loosen up while we're going to hear from, should we be ladies first all the way across, or yeah, usually in our schools, we always let the men go first. I'm just joking. So I think, okay. So Ntoba, let's stick with the women's liberation movement. And so wonderful. It's another entrepreneurial actuary. So over to you.
Thank you, Teddy. I'm really glad you were joking about what happens in your schools. You had me worried there for a moment. So thank you so much, Teddy. It's an absolute pleasure to be on a panel with yourself, Nelly, and Aldred. I think it's going to be a good conversation. So as you shared, I mean, I come from an actuarial background. I always say that I studied actuarial science by, profession, and I'm probably an entrepreneur by necessity. So very different path for an actuary to follow, but effectively that's where I am now. So I actually run my own business, and I'm an entrepreneur myself, but also part of an organization called Future Proof South Africa, which really is focused on entrepreneurial education of children right from the age of kind of 6 and 7 in grade 1, all the way through to kind of post-matric, learning. And very kind of similar to what even Nelly was sharing, our real focus is around how to get more, learners at school going age, equipped with the type of skills, and skills is very much the focus here instead of content, around skills to become entrepreneurs or try their hand at entrepreneurship while still in the schooling system. And how we do this is effectively through kind of a curriculum that we've worked quite hard on, and that our CEO has worked quite hard on as an ex-teacher herself, a fully trained teacher, but also an entrepreneur, who's pulled together effectively a curriculum that focuses on behavioral learning rather than just kind of regurgitation of content, and also focuses on the key behavioral characteristics that drive what an entrepreneur is. We've all probably seen books like E-Myth, seen certain studies around what type of characteristics really make for a good entrepreneur, and really the Future Proof kind of program focuses on how to instill those type of skills in young students while they're still at school going age, and give them a chance to try out entrepreneurship and determine whether it is for them. And if it's not for them, then actually you're equipping them with certain skills that I truly believe is important, whether you're going to become an employee or an entrepreneur. And it's done in a rather, behavioral and kind of experiential way, because we feel that that's the direction that the education model needs to move more and more to, which is around experience, real creation of a business, really testing out the theory and really getting a sense of whether it's a fit for you or not. And that's why we focus a lot on not just entrepreneurial thinking, but entrepreneurial action. And obviously this year's been an interesting one with COVID. And an interesting one because an opportunity for entrepreneurs to come up with ideas, including kind of young kids within their schooling systems. But secondly, because this year we've been able to launch an online gamified and animated experience for young kids so that they're able to, in their own way, play along with the game as superheroes, which we believe entrepreneurs are superheroes, play along with the game, and through that game actually be testing whether they've been able to pick up certain characteristics that would set them up in good stead to become entrepreneurs. So that's effectively what we do, and I'm conscious of the time, so I'm going to stop there and open myself up for questions after this. Thanks, Teddy.
Wonderful. You were so modest with your use of time. I'm going to ask you quickly, what do you see as the key characteristics of an entrepreneur? And also, I love the point you made about experiential. And this is our whole initiative in the National eCube system. It's all around game-based learning, play-based learning, project-based learning, and it's experience. It's through real doing that kids are going to learn these mindsets. So Ntoba, what are the characteristics of an entrepreneurial person?
Awesome. So I think we often work at it as a layered approach. and take a look at kind of primary characteristics, secondary characteristics, and then look at specific skills, which I think oftentimes it's often looked at the other way around, which is let's just focus on the skills, but really without having key personal characteristics, such as being resilient, such as opportunity spotting, such as the ability to be collaborative and, see a bigger picture as well as deal with the details. So we focus on it on that level, and I'm happy to kind of, add a bit of detail there, but it's around resilience, it's around opportunity spotting, it's about being able to be collaborative, it's about kind of around being iterative and failing quickly, and then we kind of get to skills, which speaks about being able to put together some sort of business plan, understanding your cash flow. But we feel that that comes second to the personality traits and characteristics that set you in good stead to be an entrepreneur, which, like I said, actually are characteristic traits that are needed by everyone, given the rapidly changing world that we find ourselves in.
Right. No, very nice. We also found interesting research on that in fact, the very things you need to train entrepreneurs on in the world today are exactly what you have to train people on to be employable, because the world's changing so fast.
Agreed.
Now over to another fascinating entrepreneurial story. Eldred Jordan and GovChat was involved before, was it with Mixit, and has had very interesting experience with mobile tech and so on. Eldred, tell us firstly a little bit about GovChat, but also how you see GovChat playing a role in the development of young entrepreneurs in South Africa, and young entrepreneurs and young people who are fascinated with mobile. That's how they communicate, talk, reach each other all the time. So that's the platform you're using. Over to you, Eldred.
Dr. Teddy, thank you so much for that introduction. It's a massive honor to share this panel with Commissioner Vuba, Nelly, and with you. Just a bit about GovChat and how it started. You are correct to say that I am a former Mixit colleague and employee, part of the team that founded Mixit many years ago, used a lot of that learning. And obviously when it closed down, I decided to use that learning and create a very simplistic platform that creates a communication channel to connect citizens with government. And like every entrepreneurial story, comes with a lot of hardship. After 2 years of spending my own resources and funding, I lost everything. I had to move back into my mom's place. My daughter got suspended from school. It was a really tough journey personally, as a father, as a provider, as a husband. It was really difficult. And then out of the blue, someone that I don't know from above, was seeing this work that I was doing about just the concept around GovChat, and asked me if I needed assistance. And I said, no, I'm done. It's too late. I'm tired. And said, look, here's $1 million and see if you can take that concept into something tangible. 11 months later, a JSE listed entity by the name of Capital Appreciation tops that up with another 20 million Rand. And then, soon after that, Absa Bank comes and they give another 9.4 million Rand, about 40 million Rand in about 12 months after a long, hard road in struggle. And, when I try to, in the beginning of GovChat, try to discuss this concept with quite a few people. I'll never forget my first meeting was with a so-called friend, someone that is a technology expert. And I said that I have this idea of really connecting citizens with government. And he said it's the worst idea he has ever heard. Today, let me tell you, 4 years later, GovChat has processed 250 million messages users and has well over 5 million active South Africans, making it one of the largest or the largest citizen engagement platform possibly on the African continent. And so with that, I would like to share a few things with entrepreneurs that is trying to take on this crazy journey. The first thing is make sure that whatever you do, that you follow your purpose. That for me is a most important rule. Secondly, don't chase money. If you're going to try and chase money, you're going to come short. You are going to be disappointed very quickly. Just again, make sure that you are chasing purpose. And then finally, it is a very lonely journey. And I can tell you now that many people laugh at me when I say this, but make sure that you marry the right person. My wife of 20 years has been my biggest supporter, the driving force. My COO at home keeps the whole thing together, and she really allows me to be what I am, and being able to really help citizens and government. From a GovChat point of view, as I said, you know, we've processed about 250 million messages. We have 5 million active users. We have partnered with various government institutions like SASSA and COCTA, the Department of Health, and we're seeing a massive shift now from a communications platform to a platform or technology that helps government digitize various processes, like with SASSA, where with COVID-19, it would be impossible to fill out a social relief of distress grant application at the various SASSA offices. And so what GovChat did was it digitized that entire process, and we received, you know, well over 4.4 million grant applications within the last two months. Again, you know, I think if I look at the various conferences that I speak at, the world is watching what Africa is doing. We are about, yes.
On that note, which is a fascinating, beautiful, inspiring, amazing story, I'm going to have to ask you to wrap up in 20 seconds.
So just, you know, again, this is a really tough marketplace that we are in, process that we are in. I'm going to leave entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs with my dad's favorite scripture, and that is, tears and sorrow might last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. Don't give up. Stay resilient, and as Commissioner Vuma has stated, stay focused, and I promise you, you will get through this. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. So wonderful to hear this entrepreneurial story. And I want to make a few comments on what you said, Aldred, but just asking our wonderful audience here who are writing all these questions, please carry on writing in your questions. We're going to go to them right now, and we'll definitely try and get through most of them. But firstly, Aldred, you heard the magical words when you were just about to give up and so on, and when someone told you that it's the worst idea that he had ever heard, then you know you're going to be successful. And I think that that's the signposts of being an entrepreneur. The moment somebody tells you that, you just got to thank your lucky stars that you're on the right track. And because then you know you're onto something and going to do something disruptive. And really appreciated your advice that you gave to entrepreneurs. Just repeat that, follow your purpose, don't chase money, and that it is a lonely journey. And I think the fourth one that you didn't say is that you should hire women, rely on women. If you're an entrepreneur, I think women will see you through in the trenches, through the toughest times, and will hold everything together, able to embrace so much ambiguity, and don't have the same kind of anger that men sometimes have. So hearing about your wife and your COO, I think good decisions to have these women around you. I just wanted to say one more thing, and we're going to go through to the questions. And I'm not saying this for anything other than just to say the people that came out to support you when you were about to give up, and just so inspiring to hear about that US investment that you got of $1 million, and then hearing the other support you got, and hearing about ABSA. And I want to give a shout out to ABSA because they do a lot of great things, and a lot of our banks in South Africa really do great things, and I think big corporates in South Africa do great things, but over and over again. And you know, to be transparent, I'm doing a project with ABSA, and I've never worked with such passionate, amazing people. And so it's just good to give a shout out to the people that are actually allowing things like GovChat to get up and running and to succeed. And look what a wonderful thing you're doing now with 5 million users and a $250 million messages. I also wanted to say a final thing about the South African government. You know, we all are so quick to slate our government, how bad they are, how terrible they are, and so on. You know, for 11 years, 9 years I've been working with government now, since 2011. And in the beginning, I refused to work with government when I was asked to chair this panel. What an incredible journey it has been. And of course, you're going to find the people that you don't want to work with, but there are just numerous people I've met in government that I couldn't have met, harder working, more passionate, more committed, amazing, great South Africans. And some of them are people like the Director General in the Department of Basic Education, the Minister, just other people, I mean, who just give their lives day and night for this country. So I just think it's important for all of us as South Africans, every chance we get, to stand up for our beautiful country, for our government, and to see the good as well, because there's so much good that is happening, and wonderful what you are doing with government. So guys, let's go over to our questions. I'm going to start with a question to Songoba first. And the question is, in your opinion and experience, are the personality traits you're referring to teachable? And in fact, I'm going to ask everyone to fill in the poll just after you hear. In fact, before you hear Songoba's answer, please go to the poll. Do you believe that entrepreneurs can be developed? Click yes or no, because just before we close, we're going to look at your answers on the poll. So first, let's hear what you think. So I'm giving you 10 seconds to answer on the poll, and panelists, you may want to do the same as well. Do you think entrepreneurs can be developed? And submit your answer, and at the end we're going to see what we all think. I've submitted my answer now, and Songoba, over to you. Tell us.
Awesome. Yes, so I think that's a fantastic question, and the reality is that even though today we're talking about making children or young people into entrepreneurs, the characteristics that I mentioned is stuff that's needed by us as adults. So when we ask, can they be taught, it actually is a question to us even as adults. And I want to talk about those characteristics. So kind of opportunity awareness, resilience, tenacity, a need for achievement, self-efficiency, and leadership. When you hear those characteristics, it's not necessarily immediately thinking, oh, that's for an entrepreneur, it's for a successful career. So they can be taught. I think the important thing when we talk about what can be taught is that we talk about how we teach, which fundamentally questions some of our current existing education models, which is instead of kind of putting information and theory out there, the best way to teach these is by experience. So as an example, a silly, simple example is for opportunity awareness. When we work with kids, especially in primary school, what we'll do is take apples and hide apples all over the playground, a certain space and time. So in trees, on the ground, and wherever. And we ask them to look out for apples. And their job for a 10 or 15-minute period is to find apples. And literally some will find them, some won't. And what we come back to is a very much a debrief, experiential debrief, which is who found them? How did they approach it? It was, oh no, I didn't see any because I only looked down to the ground. Or I missed that one because I never looked above me and therefore I missed it, and these are the lessons I'm learning for something like that. And how does that apply in spotting opportunities for business? Another one may be walk around your school or even your department at work and understand what the problems are and how are their opportunities for solving those. So I think they can be taught, and it is something that can be measured and can be improved where we don't currently have a great starting point with showing and exhibiting those characteristics.
Robert, thank you for that answer. And I will say that it will be great to see everyone's comments at the end on the poll to see what they thought. Aldred and Nelly, just put your hand up if you think these characteristics and entrepreneurial traits can be developed. Just let's see your thoughts on that. Put your hand up if you think they can be developed. I'm hoping Nelly thinks. Yeah, so Aldred does think they can. Nelly, you don't. I'm glad
I do.
For South Africa. And yeah, this is what this E-Cubed initiative is about in the Department of Basic Education. It's about developing a mindset through repeated experiences. And Ngoba, you used that word experiences. Somebody has to have this experience of trying, failing, and we have to use play. Kids, that's how kids function, is through play. All of us with kids, we know play everything. And this is where people like Lego have so much vision and doing such an incredible thing in the South African school system with people like Care for Ed and UNESCO. If you don't know about the Foundation Phase initiative with Lego, whoever's watching, go and read about this, working with hundreds of thousands of kids with Lego bricks, experiences, teaching kids how to think and solve problems, be creative, etc. The kind of exercises you spoke about, Sonjoba, beautiful. This is what we have to bring into our education, bringing education to life. So Nelly, in terms of JASA, it's been working, this is a question, to nurture entrepreneurship in youth for decades. Can you comment on the effect of the education system on the outcomes and impact that JASA is trying to achieve with its young beneficiaries? So how does the existing education system affect either supporting you or making your work more difficult in terms of what you're doing with JASA? That's what the question is. But please try be nice to the South African education system as well in your answer, because you've got a passionate moderator who really wants us education system to believe in it.
Thank you, Teddy. I certainly will be nice. We've got a long-standing relationship with the Department of Education, and I must say, even during this challenging time, they've been outstanding in their support. So firstly, I must say that it is really encouraging to see that the DB is already moving towards incorporating project-based learning and entrepreneurship as well as coding into the school curriculum, because we do really need to plant the seed at an early age, and this takes collaborative effort. So government cannot do it alone, NGOs cannot. I mean, we need the support of the corporates as well in this process. And I must say the 40-year journey with government has been a turbulent one. It's had its great successes. I mean, I look back at the number of students we've been able to reach over the years, and I see where they are now, and I realize that really without this partnership and working together, we wouldn't have achieved what we have achieved thus far. And maybe if I can just share a little bit with what has happened since the lockdown levels have been released. I mean, we were first worried that we won't be able to access the learners in the schools, and we had to look at various means of reaching out and still making sure that enterprise education continues. And because of the networks that we had already established with government, with the Department of Education, this was made possible, and it was actually extended to not just learner support, but to educator training as well. So most of our interventions are now not focused on only students, but also supporting educators to make sure that they continue to implement what we would have planted with the students.
Wonderful, Nelly. You used the words partnership. I think that's critical with the DBE. They really, I think, express openness for partnerships, partnerships with other sectors of the economy, the for-profit organizations that allow you to do the work you do with youth, and then you see where those youth end up in time. So I think partnerships is the way, absolutely critical. And then the role of the educator you spoke about, which I think all of us know is absolutely key. One cannot bypass the core of the education system in our, keenness to reach youth. But by properly involving educators, anything is possible. Aldred, somebody was asking you the dreaded question, which is how do we provide a safety net to entrepreneurs? You nearly lost everything. You had to go stay with your mother. What could be more of a desperate situation than that? And taking your daughter out of school and so on. But really, you have an incredibly inspiring story. I've also had times where I've had to go back and live with my mother, so I know the I know the story, but what kind of a safety net can you provide to entrepreneurs, and does such a thing exist? And the risk of losing everything is a high cost in entrepreneurship, which deters a lot of young people. They want to become an accountant because it's easy, become a lawyer, get articles, you know, take the safe route. What would you say?
Look, I think that I mean, if I look at examples in the US, in specifically around Silicon Valley, if I look at venture capital businesses, specifically around funding, it's very clear that if you cannot show an investor that you have started a business at least 3 times and shown that you have failed 3 times, they are not going to allow you to to mess with their funds. And so you have to, you know, start and learn on your own, and then go and ask for like funds. I think that is an important one, that that there is this learning out of failure. And Commissioner Zuba, you know, has definitely spoken about that. If I ask, you know, the investors that have invested in GovChat why they did that, and they made it very, very clear that they did not invest in GovChat, but they invested in me. I think it is important to understand that investors invest in people, not in businesses, because it takes people to make those businesses work. And so if you don't take no for an answer, if you are driven, if failure is not an option for you, I can tell you now, investors would put their money on that jockey, because they know, you know, at the end of the day, yes, it's about return on investment, but at the end of the day, that the entrepreneur will do whatever it takes, not make excuses, to really take this business to $1 billion business. You know what I'm saying? So it really, I personally believe that you have to show what it takes. You know what I'm saying? This is not for sissies. I will also say that, you know, I receive many questions around, so how do you get funding? How do you, and there are so many opportunities out there, but it starts with understanding the startup landscape, the venture capital, you know, market. Understand what people are looking for. You know, go and do your research. Don't just expect a handout. We have a culture of handouts. If I look at just in South Africa alone, we have 18 million South Africans that are on social grants. 12.5 million of those grants are child grants. It should be the other way around. You know, we are funding things like alcoholism. We're funding things like teenage pregnancy. You know, and I definitely think that we must get away from that mentality of handouts. We need to work hard. We need to put in those hours. If it really is what you want to do, it is what we call sacrifice and passion, and that's gonna make you the next Elon Musk. That's gonna make you the next Commissioner Vuba. That's gonna make you the next Dr. Taddy. You know what I'm saying? So show the hours, put in the hard work. There's no substitute for it, and I promise you, you will succeed. Thank you.
Eldred, really, I'd love to clap, and I hope I wouldn't be the only one clapping, because this is, it's so true. All of us sitting on this panel here, all of us are entrepreneurs. We deal with this every single day. You mentioned the word passion, sacrifice, hard work. There isn't really actually a safety net. If we want a safety net in truth for entrepreneurs, it's not grants to entrepreneurs that is going to make the difference. And it's often not even money that entrepreneurs need. It's about the quality of the education they get, the kind of rigor with which that's done, the sense of discipline with which they taught that anything less than perfection is not good enough, in the way you write, the way you do solve problems, do calculations or anything else. Excellence is the only thing that can exist in the world and survive. And you have to be prepared to fail, and don't try to stop people from failing, because that mindset of starting, trying, struggling, failing, that is where the learning is. The learning is as much in the failing as it is in the succeeding. And both of them actually are hard. Succeeding can be as hard as failing, and it comes with its own challenges. So I think you have it there. Passion, sacrifice, hard work. This is what we have to be teaching the kids in our country day by day, by the scruff of their neck. This is what you need. You can achieve anything, you can get anywhere. And many South Africans have done it. South Africans have got the gene. I'll tell you an extraordinary thing, and then we're going to look at the results of the poll, and then we'll see if we've got any more time. I don't think we do, because it's tea time and we can't take away everyone's tea, which is up until 4:20. An incredible thing that they found is that 50% of all CEOs of Fortune 500 companies in America or the UK that are not American or English are South African. And South Africans have got the gene. We run many of the biggest companies in the world, many of the biggest organizations in the world, multilateral organizations, etc., run by South Africans. From Amnesty International, there's so many. South Africans have got the gene. The biggest gift we can give to our youth is teach them, don't take the easy route. It can't be through handouts. It's not going to be through grants. It's going to be becoming the great human being that you actually are. So guys, wait for it. We have a little drum roll. Let's see the poll results. Christian, if you could show them on the screen. Great. Christian, are you going to give us the results? Can't see them yet. Can anyone see the results?
I can see them. Looks like we have 97% of people voted yes, that you can develop entrepreneurs, and 3% said no.
Okay, what a wonderful audience. Fantastic. You guys were listening. We're very proud of you. Thank you very much for joining this panel. There are other questions. What I am going to ask our panelists, they probably don't have the time given their busy schedules, but Christian, if you could send to the panelists these questions, and if they could somehow, like if they do have time to answer any of them that we didn't cover, it would really be wonderful, especially the ones that are specifically addressed to individuals. Guys, keep going with your amazing work. All of you make us proud as fellow South Africans. Just all the best of success for Junior Achievement. What a beautiful, amazing organization. Been doing this for decades and all over the world. Songoba, your incredibly interesting work with youth and your amazing journey inspiring young people on entrepreneurship. So good to see an icon like you. I've seen you've been all these under 40, this and that, and the other, and congratulations. And then Aldred, what an amazing story of how you went from Mixit, starting this up, GovChat, nearly failing, giving up almost, just so close, and amazing people coming along, believing in you and what you're building today, which sounds to me like it's going to go global and be another amazing South African success story. So wishing you the greatest of success with that. And to everyone else watching, I'm sure there's incredible entrepreneurs and people supporting entrepreneurs in this audience. Thank you for your time. Let's never give up, colleagues. Let's keep working day and night with every bit of strength we've got and bring up our young people to be the leaders and job creators that we need, and social entrepreneurs as well, which we need in South Africa. Thank you very much. What a wonderful pleasure to be with all of you, and have a good tea to everyone. Thank you very much. And Christian, thanks for your help in the background.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Thank you so much.
Have a wonderful
Thank you. Bye.